BMW M1. Born on the racetrack, dressed for the autobahn, BMW's first and only supercar. There are moments in automotive history when a manufacturer reaches beyond its comfort zone and creates something that redefines everything people thought they knew about the brand. The BMW M1 is precisely that kind of car. Unveiled in 1978, it was BMW's first, and for decades only mid-engine supercar, a machine born from the crucible of motorsport ambition and engineering audacity. It was a statement of intent from a company that had built its reputation on refined sedans and touring cars, suddenly stepping into the arena of exotic supercars dominated by Italian thoroughbreds. The M1 is not just another entry in the catalogue of classic sports cars. It is a singular achievement, a car that almost never made it to production and very nearly bankrupted the motorsport division before it turned a single racing lap. Its story is one of ambition colliding with reality, of dreams tempered by financial constraints and political maneuvering within the automotive industry. And yet, against all odds, the M1 emerged as one of the most beautiful and significant automobiles of the 20th century. Standing before a BMW M1 today, you are immediately struck by its presence. The long, wedge-shaped profile sits low to the ground, its lines drawn with the precision of an architect's straight edge and the flair of an artist's brush. The pop-up headlights, the louvered rear window, the subtle fender flares. Every detail speaks of a car designed to slice through air at tremendous speed while looking impossibly elegant doing so. It is a car that commands attention without shouting for it. What makes the M1 truly remarkable is its dual nature. It was conceived as a homologation special, built to qualify BMW for Group 4 and later Group 5 racing. But it transcended that utilitarian purpose to become an icon of design, engineering, and exclusivity. Fewer than 500 examples were ever produced, making it one of the rarest BMWs in existence. Today, the M1 is revered not only as a collector's prize, but as the spiritual ancestor of every M car that followed. It is where the legend of BMW Motorsport truly began. The story of the BMW M1 begins in the mid-1970s, when BMW Motorsport director Jochen Neerpasch envisioned a purpose-built racing car that could challenge Porsche's dominance in international GT competition. The plan was audacious: create a mid-engine supercar from scratch, homologate it for Group 4 racing by building the required 400 road cars, and then unleash it on the world's racetracks. The project was designated E26 internally, and it would become the most troubled and dramatic development program in BMW's history. Neerpasch initially turned to Lamborghini for assistance. The Italian firm, experienced in mid-engine architecture, was contracted to engineer the chassis, develop the car, and handle initial production. Giorgetto Giugiaro of Italdesign was commissioned to design the body, working from an earlier concept by BMW's own Paul Bracq. The collaboration seemed ideal on paper, German precision paired with Italian passion. But Lamborghini was in severe financial distress, teetering on the edge of bankruptcy throughout 1977 and 1978. Deadlines slipped. Quality suffered. Prototypes arrived incomplete or not at all. By early 1978, BMW made the painful decision to sever ties with Lamborghini and bring the entire project in-house. This was a monumental undertaking. BMW Motorsport had to rapidly establish a production pipeline using a network of specialist suppliers across Germany and Italy. The tubular steel spaceframe was fabricated by Marchesi in Modena. The fiberglass body panels were produced by TIR in Italy. Final assembly took place at Bau in Stuttgart, with engine installation and finishing completed at BMW Motorsport's facility in Munich. This fragmented production process was enormously expensive and painfully slow. By the time the M1 finally entered production in late 1978, the homologation rules had changed. The FIA now required 400 units to be built within a 2-year period for Group 4 eligibility, a target BMW could never realistically meet at its rate of roughly 2 cars per week. The racing dream that had inspired the entire project was slipping away before the first customer car was even delivered. It was a cruel irony that would define the M1's complicated legacy. Chapter 3: Giugiaro's timeless masterpiece. If the BMW M1's development story is one of turmoil, its design story is one of pure inspiration. Giorgetto Giugiaro, already one of the most celebrated automotive designers in the world by the mid-1970s, created a shape for the M1 that has proven virtually immune to the passage of time. Nearly 5 decades after it first appeared, the M1 still looks contemporary, still looks fast, standing still looks like the future someone once imagined and then made real. The design language is unmistakably wedge-shaped, a hallmark of the era, but Giugiaro elevated the form beyond mere fashion. The M1's proportions are exquisitely balanced. The long hood slopes gently toward the nose, where a subtle kidney grille maintains the essential BMW identity without overwhelming the car's clean lines. The greenhouse is set well back, emphasizing the mid-engine layout and giving the car an aggressive, purposeful stance. The rear three-quarter view is perhaps the M1's most dramatic angle, with the flying buttresses flanking the louvered engine cover, creating an almost architectural composition of glass, metal, and shadow. The pop-up headlights were both a stylistic choice and an aerodynamic necessity, allowing the nose to remain as low and clean as possible. The side profile reveals carefully sculpted air intakes just ahead of the rear wheels, feeding cooling air to the engine and brakes. The rear features a full-width tail panel with integrated taillights, a design element that would influence BMW styling for years to come. Every surface serves a purpose, yet nothing feels purely functional. The interior, while Spartan by modern standards, was remarkably civilized for a homologation special of its era. Leather-trimmed seats, air conditioning, electric windows, and a proper stereo system were all standard equipment. The driver faces a simple, business-like instrument cluster with clear analog gauges. The cabin is snug, but not claustrophobic, and visibility is surprisingly good for a mid-engine car. Giugiaro understood that a car meant for road use, even one born from racing ambitions, had to be livable. The M1 manages to feel special without being theatrical, exotic without being impractical. It is restrained. Italian artistry at its absolute finest. Beneath the M1's sculpted skin lies an engineering package that was state-of-the-art for its time and remains impressive by any standard. The heart of the car is BMW's legendary M88 inline-six engine, a 3.5-litre twin-cam unit that represented the pinnacle of BMW's naturally aspirated engine technology. Developed by BMW Motorsport under the direction of Paul Roche, the M88 produced 277 horsepower in road-going trim, with a stratospheric redline of 7,000 revolutions per minute. It was, at the time of its introduction, one of the most powerful production inline 6 engines ever built. The M88 featured a cast-iron block with an aluminum cylinder head, 4 valves per cylinder, Kugelfischer mechanical fuel injection, and individual throttle bodies. The engine was mounted longitudinally behind the cockpit, ahead of the rear axle, in a classic mid-engine configuration that optimized weight distribution. The result was a near-perfect 53 to 47% front-to-rear weight split that gave the M1 extraordinary balance and agility. Total curb weight was approximately 1,440 kilograms, remarkably light for a car of its size and equipment level. Power was delivered through a ZF 5-speed manual transaxle, the same gearbox used in the contemporary Lamborghini Countach, mounted in unit with a limited slip differential. The shift action was mechanical and precise, with a satisfying tactility that modern transmissions struggle to replicate. The chassis was a tubular steel space frame, incredibly rigid for its era, and designed from the outset to accommodate the stresses of racing. Suspension was by double wishbones at all 4 corners, with coil springs and adjustable Bilstein dampers. Braking was handled by ventilated disc brakes on all 4 wheels, unassisted by any electronic aids. No ABS, no traction control, no stability management. The M1 demanded skill and respect from its driver, rewarding precision with extraordinary feedback and punishing overconfidence without mercy. The steering was an unassisted rack and pinion unit that transmitted every nuance of the road surface directly to the driver's hands. This was an era when the connection between human and machine was purely mechanical, and the M1 exemplified that philosophy. Every input produced an immediate, unfiltered response. Chapter 5: Unleashing 260. Driving a BMW M1 is an experience that transcends mere transportation. From the moment you fire the M88 engine and hear that distinctive mechanical whir build into a soaring, unbroken wail, you understand that this is no ordinary automobile. The sound alone is worth the price of admission, a high-pitched, almost metallic howl that rises through the rev range with an urgency and purity that turbocharged engines simply cannot replicate. It is the sound of precision engineering pushed to its limits, and it fills the cabin with an intoxicating mechanical symphony. On paper, the M1's performance figures seem modest by today's hypercar standards. 0 to 100 km per hour arrives in approximately 5.6 seconds. Top speed is 262 km per hour, making it one of the fastest production cars of its era. But these numbers tell only a fraction of the story. The M1's true brilliance lies not in outright speed, but in the quality of its performance, the way it communicates with the driver and rewards skillful inputs with fluid, predictable responses. The mid-engine layout gives the car an extraordinary sense of agility and balance. Turn-in is immediate and precise, with the front end biting into corners with confidence. The rear, loaded with the weight of the engine, provides tremendous traction out of corners, and the limited slip differential ensures that power is distributed effectively to both rear wheels. At the limit, the M1 transitions smoothly from understeer to a gentle, controllable oversteer that a skilled driver can exploit to carry astonishing speed through corners. The unassisted steering is a revelation. Heavy at parking speeds, it lightens as velocity increases, providing a constant stream of information about grip levels, road surface, and chassis loading. The brakes, while lacking modern electronic assistance, are powerful and progressive, with excellent pedal feel that allows the driver to modulate stopping force with surgical precision. The 5-speed gearbox shifts with satisfying mechanical precision, each gate clearly defined. Everything about the M1's driving experience feels connected, honest, and deeply engaging. It is a car that makes you a better driver simply by demanding your full attention and rewarding your best efforts. The BMW M1's rarity is central to its mystique. When production finally concluded in 1981, just 453 examples had been built, making it one of the most exclusive production BMWs ever manufactured. Of these, the vast majority were road cars finished in a relatively limited palette of colours, though BMW offered a degree of customization that was unusual for a homologation special. The most common exterior colours were orange, officially called Inca orange, red, white and silver, though other shades were available on special order. The production process itself was extraordinarily complex and contributed significantly to the car's high cost and limited numbers. Each M1 was essentially hand-built, passing through multiple facilities across 2 countries before completion. The tubular space frame was welded together in Italy by Marchesi. The fiberglass body panels were produced separately and shipped to the Ital engineering facility in Turin for bonding to the frame. The partially assembled cars were then transported to Bau in Stuttgart, where the interior, electrical systems and ancillary components were installed. Finally, each car travelled to BMW Motorsport's Munich headquarters for engine and transaxle installation, final assembly and quality control. This convoluted supply chain meant that production rarely exceeded 2 to 3 cars per week, making the original 400-unit homologation target an impossibility within the required timeframe. The retail price was equally exclusive. At its launch, the M1 cost approximately 100,000 Deutsche Marks in Germany, roughly equivalent to the price of a small house. In the United States, where the M1 was never officially sold through BMW dealers, grey market examples commanded even steeper premiums. Today, the M1's limited production run has made it one of the most sought-after collector BMWs in the world. Surviving examples are meticulously catalogued by the M1 registry, and the provenance of each car is carefully tracked. Low-mileage, unrestored examples in original condition are especially prized, though well-documented restored cars also command significant attention at auction. Every M1 has a story, and every owner becomes part of a very small and very passionate community. Chapter 7: Art Car and Cultural Icon. The BMW M1 occupies a unique place in popular culture, transcending its identity as a mere automobile to become a genuine cultural artifact. Perhaps the most famous expression of this cultural significance is the BMW Art Car program, which reached its creative zenith with the M1. In 1979, Andy Warhol was commissioned to paint an M1 as the 4th entry in BMW's Art Car series. Unlike previous artists who had used tape and careful planning, Warhol attacked the car directly with brushes and paint, completing the work in a single session of approximately 23 minutes. He declared that he wanted to show speed as a visual image, and the resulting explosion of colour, vivid greens, yellows, oranges and reds streaking across the bodywork, has become one of the most reproduced images in automotive art history. The Warhol M1 Art Car, chassis number WBS 599104301 N75, went on to race at the 1979 24 Hours of Le Mans, driven by Manfred Winkelhock, Hervé Poulain and Marcel Mignot. It finished 6th overall, proving that it was not merely a rolling canvas, but a serious competition car. Today, the Warhol M1 is part of BMW's permanent art car collection and is considered one of the most valuable BMWs in existence, though the company has stated it will never be sold. Beyond the art car program, the M1 has appeared in numerous films, television shows, and video games, though always as a rare and coveted presence rather than a mainstream fixture. Its wedge-shaped profile has graced the covers of countless automotive magazines, and it remains a staple of prestigious concours events worldwide. The car has been featured prominently in exhibitions at major museums, including the Pinakothek der Moderne in Munich and the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. For an entire generation of automotive enthusiasts who came of age in the late 1970s and early 1980s, the M1 was the poster on the bedroom wall, the dream machine that represented everything exotic and unattainable about the world of supercars. It held its own against the Countach, the Ferrari 512BB, and the Porsche 930 Turbo in the imagination of young car lovers everywhere. That emotional resonance has only deepened with time. While the M1's homologation struggles prevented it from competing in Group 4 as originally intended, its racing career was far from insignificant. The most celebrated chapter was the BMW M1 Procar Championship, a brilliant one-make racing series conceived by Jochen Neerpasch as a solution to the homologation impasse. Running as a support race to Formula One Grands Prix during the 1979 and 1980 seasons, the Procar series featured identically prepared M1 race cars driven by a mix of Formula One drivers and invited privateer entrants. It was a spectacular concept that put the world's best drivers in identical machinery and let pure talent determine the outcome. The Procar M1s were significantly more powerful than the road cars, producing approximately 470 horsepower from race-tuned versions of the M88 engine. They were stripped of all comfort equipment, fitted with roll cages, racing suspension, and wide Campagnolo magnesium wheels shod with slick tyres. The resulting car was brutally fast and incredibly exciting to watch. The 1979 championship was won by Niki Lauda, with Nelson Piquet, Alan Jones, Hans-Joachim Stuck, and other Formula One legends among the regular competitors. In 1980, Nelson Piquet claimed the title in a thrilling season of close racing. Beyond Procar, the M1 competed at the highest levels of endurance racing. Group 4 and Group 5 variants raced at Le Mans, the Nürburgring 1,000 kilometers, and numerous rounds of the World Championship for Max. The most extreme versions were the Group 5 cars, fitted with massive turbochargers that boosted output to an astonishing 850 horsepower or more. These wild machines, with their extended bodywork, enormous rear wings, and earth-shaking turbocharged engines, were among the fastest and most dramatic racing cars of their era. At the 1980 24 Hours of Le Mans, an M1 driven by the all-French team of Jean-Pierre Jarier, Hans-Georg Berger, and Dominique Lacolle finished in the top 10 overall. Multiple M1s competed at Le Mans across several years, carrying the colours of prominent teams like Schnitzer, GS Tuning, and EMKA Productions. Though the M1 never achieved an outright victory at Le Mans, its consistent presence among far more expensive and purpose-built prototypes was a testament to the fundamental soundness of its engineering. Chapter 9. $1 Million Proposition. The BMW M1's trajectory in the collector car market has been nothing short of remarkable. For years after production ended, the M1 was an undervalued curiosity, a footnote in BMW's history that enthusiasts appreciated, but the broader market largely ignored. well into the 1990s and early 2000s, clean examples could be acquired for well under $100,000, a fraction of what comparable exotics from Ferrari or Lamborghini commanded. That era of relative affordability is now firmly in the past. The M1's market awakening began in earnest around 2010, as collectors increasingly recognized the car's unique combination of rarity, design significance, and engineering merit. Prices climbed steadily through the decade, accelerating sharply as the broader classic car market experienced a surge of interest from new collectors and investors. By the mid-2010s, excellent examples were regularly crossing the $500,000 threshold at major auctions. By 2020, the very best road-going M1s were approaching and sometimes exceeding $1 million. Several notable auction results have punctuated this upward trend. A pristine, low-mileage example in Inca Orange sold at RM Sotheby's for over €750,000. Procar racing examples, with their motorsport provenance and more powerful engines, have commanded even higher prices, with some estimates placing the most significant cars well above $1.5 million. The Andy Warhol art car, of course, is essentially priceless. Insurance valuations have reportedly exceeded $10 million. What drives the M1's desirability in today's market is a confluence of factors. The production number of 453 is low enough to ensure genuine exclusivity, but high enough to sustain an active collector community. The Giugiaro design is universally admired and ages beautifully. The M88 engine is a masterpiece of naturally aspirated performance that appeals to purists. And the car's historical significance as the foundation of BMW's M division gives it an institutional importance that few other models can claim. For collectors who seek the intersection of beauty, rarity, performance, and historical weight, the M1 represents one of the most compelling propositions in the classic car world. The BMW M1's most profound legacy is not found in its auction results, its racing trophies, or even its stunning design. It is found in the 3 letters and 1 number that appear on the trunk lid of every high-performance BMW sold today. The M1 was the car that established BMW Motorsport, GmbH, as a creator of complete automobiles, rather than merely a racing department that tuned existing models. Without the M1, there would be no M3, no M5, no M division as we know it. Every M car that has followed carries the DNA of that original mid-engine supercar in its engineering philosophy, its commitment to driver engagement, and its willingness to push beyond the boundaries of what a BMW is expected to be. The M88 engine that powered the M1 directly begat the S38, which powered the legendary E28 and E34 M5 sedans. The lessons learned in developing a mid-engine chassis informed BMW's approach to weight distribution and handling dynamics for decades. The spirit of the Procar series, putting the very best drivers in equally matched cars, lives on in BMW's customer racing programs and one-make series around the world. Even the M1's troubled development, with its lessons about the risks of outsourced production, shaped BMW's decision to bring all future M-car development and assembly firmly in-house. The M1 also established a design heritage that continues to echo through BMW's lineup. The integration of aerodynamic function with visual drama, the commitment to a clean and purposeful aesthetic, the subtle use of the kidney grille as an identity marker. All of these principles, refined in the crucible of the M1's development, remain core to BMW's design language. When BMW unveiled the Vision M Next concept in 2019, The visual references to the M1 were unmistakable and intentional, a direct acknowledgement of the original car's enduring influence. In the end, the BMW M1 is that rarest of automobiles, a car that failed to achieve its original purpose, yet succeeded in ways its creators never imagined. It never won the Group 4 championship it was built to contest. It nearly destroyed BMW Motorsport financially. And yet it created a legacy that has generated billions in revenue, inspired generations of engineers and designers, and given the world some of the greatest performance cars ever made. The M1 is proof that sometimes the most important journeys are the ones that don't go according to plan. It is, and will forever remain, the car that started it all.